Welcome to episode 98 of the Epilogue Lady podcast. My name is Bente and I'm coming to you from Vesterålen, northern Norway, where I live with my husband and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Arctic Crafts, on Facebook and Etsy as Arctic Crafts by Bente, and on Ravelry as Arctic Crafts 65. There is also a group for this podcast on Ravelry, and we have a make-along running, the Tea Time Mal. There is also a page on Ko-fi for this podcast where you can support me and the podcast. I said podcast twice in a really short time. I'm thinking I need to change up the intro a bit. I've been saying the exact same thing at the start of all my podcasts since I started this thing in episode 1, more or less. I need extra coffee today because I'm recording this earlier than I usually do, even though hubby isn't coming home until almost 4 p.m. But I have an insane amount of stuff to do, so I have to get this over and done with. This might also be a short episode or shorter because I haven't got a lot of knitting. But knowing me, I'll probably ramble on about something and will end up about the half an hour mark anyway. The reason why I'm so insanely busy is that those of you who has been here for the last couple of episodes, you know that my oldest son is moving back here from Tromsø, and he's moving in with us to begin with, and I have quite a lot of stuff in the spare bedroom. That was his bedroom when we moved here ages ago. I think it's 12 years ago this summer since me and him moved in here. And as soon as he moved away, I sort of put all my stuff, all of Arctic Crafts stuff and everything into that room. And now it's going to be used as a proper bedroom again, not only a guest room. So I need to shift a bit of stuff. It makes stuff easier that I'm closing down my Etsy shop. Still the clearance sale going, by the way, 25% off on everything, including the yarn I drop in from time to time. I'm dyeing yarn tomorrow. I really have to. But one of these days I'm going through all the undyed and putting aside stuff I want to keep for myself. Because I'm not going to stop dyeing yarn. I'm not dyeing yarn to sell anymore, but I'm still going to dye up sweater quantities for myself, the odds gain for friends, but so it's not going to take as much space, and he needs the space to store his stuff, because he's taking all his stuff here from Tromsø. Not furniture and bigger stuff, because that he has to get rid of in Tromsø, because this isn't a big apartment and there's no room for extra furniture. That probably doesn't interest you. This is a knitting podcast after all. We'll talk a bit more about that in live stuff at the end, so you can skip that if you're not interested. So, as you can tell, no knitwear today, and I'm not sure if you can hear it, but the AC is on. We have the sun in through the windows, and because we have a lot of windows on that wall that's facing the sun, it's really hot in here, so I have to have the AC running. So not wearing any knitwear today, but I'm wearing a new top that I just bought that I'm really pleased with. So this is going to be something I'm going to wear a lot this summer. Let's talk about FOs first. I have one FO that I can't show you yet because it's a test knit. And I sent it off to my friend, but I took pictures of it. And I'm working on a second pair for myself, so I can show you those as whips as soon as, I think it's May 17th. That's coming up in 2 days, Constitution Day. Not sure we are going to do anything interesting, maybe just have a piece of cake. But anyways, my FOs that I can show you is this. I finished my Venezia by Joji Locatelli. I don't think I've shown you this before. I think I maybe showed you this as a whip. That's what happens when you're sort of losing it. I'm not sure about you, but I always get a brain fog when I'm stressed and have lots of stuff to do and I'm afraid to forget something. So this is the Venezia by Joji Locatelli, and the yarn is from Chromatic Yarns and it's from her Knitical Roll Club, and this is the colorway Mod. And I've worn this a lot. I have one of these from before. I might just give that a soak and gift it, because I don't need to. It's almost the same colors as well, but this one has sparkles. So I'm going to keep the one with the sparkles, and the other one I'll soak it up again and clean it properly, and then I'm going to gift it, I think. So that's my Venezia. And my Yarny Corner in the UK did a Eurovision sock along, and the rules were you either had to use yellow and blue yarn, maybe yellow or blue, I'm not sure, but I think you had to use yellow and blue, or use a pattern from a Ukrainian designer. And the reason why is because Ukraine won last year and they were hosting it this year, but they had to host it in the UK, in Liverpool, because for obvious reasons they couldn't host a Eurovision Song Contest in the Ukraine. I chose to knit a pair of shorties, and the designer of these is Ukrainian, and she goes by Vicky Moroz. You can find her on Ravelry, and I'm linking this pattern down below. The yarn is Regia Tutti Frutti. That's cotton sock yarn, and this is sort of their Tutti Frutti is inspired by fruits, and this is the orange one. I really love this pattern. It was a bit fiddly to begin with, but as soon as I had memorized the pattern, it flew off the needles. I have one more skein of cotton sock yarn, and hubby has started his shorty season. He came into the bedroom this morning and went through his sock drawer and found a pair of hand knit shorties, because he wears hand knit socks all year round, but in summer he wears shorties. So he needs maybe a couple of new pairs of shorties. I know I have a whole shorties for him, so maybe I should finish and knit the other sock so he had a pair. But I might knit him a pair of cotton shorties as well, because I have another skein of, it's a ball of cotton sock yarn, so I might knit him a pair of shorties, but not right this minute, because I have loads of whips. Among other things, I've started another test knit for Stone Knits. I love her socks. It's so much fun knitting stranded colorwork socks. And now that I've sort of figured out what gauge I figured out that if I went up a needle size for the stranded pattern, the socks were too big. So I'm going through the entire thing with 2.25, and it's still a bit loose because there are more stitches, but they're not too big. So that's what I'm doing for this pair of socks I'm knitting now. I'm knitting them in 2.25 the entire sock. And I'm not sure when this pattern is going to be published, but as soon as I know, I'll tell you. And the same thing with these socks, I'll show you as soon as the pattern is published. It's a lot of teasing of patterns today. I'm so sorry. But those are my FOs. I haven't been knitting a lot. I have been knitting some, but the last few days I've been knitting on that test knit. But I also have been knitting a lot on my Soul by Jacqueline Cieslak. I'm a bit scared that this is too short. I took measurements and everything, but it looks a bit short. But hopefully I can stretch it a bit because it's more than big enough around. It's supposed to be cropped, by the way. So you can see I'm about this far on the last. That's the back, and this is the front. And I'm really looking forward to wear this summer. But as you can tell, it might be a bit short, so I think I have to stretch it a bit when I soak it. Even though this is a linen yarn, so... But it's supposed to be short. The arm openings are perfect. Not too... I hate it when your bra shows in the armholes. So that's why I made sure that the armhole is the right size and not too big. So we'll see. But hopefully this is going to be finished soon. At the moment I'm only knitting on the socks though. And not sure I have done a lot of work on this since I showed you last. It's my Felix cardigan. I'm knitting this in Viking, Eco Highland wool. And I have one of these already. So I'm not sure why I'm knitting another one. But anyways, this might not get a button band because the one I already have, I never close it in the front when I'm wearing it. I always have it hanging open. So I might just do an I-cord on this down the front. All the way around really. Just do an afterthought I-cord. There's probably another name for it, but I've forgotten what it's called. But you understand what I mean by afterthought I-cord. And so that's what I'm probably going to do with this. We'll see. Then I can put that away. And those are the whips that I can show you and that I have been working on. As I said, I have loads of whips, but those are the active ones. So I haven't got anything exciting in the mail. I'm waiting for something in the mail from River Knits. I'll show you that when it arrives. Mail from the UK is really difficult these days. It takes forever. And I can't really buy yarn from the UK or from abroad because the Norwegian krona is really, really weak at the moment. So I can buy stuff from abroad that's a maximum of 350 Norwegian krona before I have to pay customs. And when the krona is as weak as it is now, because they add, the shipping is also included in this. And now I can't even buy one skein of yarn. Because it's, I could do that before. I could buy one skein of yarn without having to pay customs. I can't anymore. So, of course, yarn advents are out of the question this year. I can't afford those this year. I might, hopefully, my favorite Norwegian yarn store, Garnbutikken Fortuna, hopefully they are doing an advent, because then I can get a yarn advent anyway. And apologizing for the noise, I forgot to put my mobile phone on silent. I can do that now. I can reach it from here. So I'll just put my mobile phone on silent. There you go. It was just a message from hubby and it wasn't that important, so I don't have to answer a reply just this minute. I've gotten 2 things in the mail that isn't yarn. Because it dawned on me that I wasn't going to dye up. Of course, I wasn't going to dye up Advents. And I'm not going to, I haven't got to buy any undyed yarn. So money I had set aside to buy undyed yarn for Advents and stuff, I could use that money for something else. And because I'm going to continue with the vlogging and the podcast, I might do a summer of an Arctic summer vlog like I did a few years back, because that was really popular. So I might do that. I know I'm going to do a vlog from my trip to Abelvær in the fall. So I decided, why not spend money on a proper camera? So I bought this one. It's a really popular one for vloggers. It's the Sony ZV-1. It's a really good camera, and I've ordered a bag for it. And I've also ordered a memory card for it, because it turned out that the memory card I've been using for my old camera won't work with this one. So I had to get a new memory card. That's the only reason why this podcast is recorded on my webcam, like I've normally done. I'm getting a tripod for it as well. So this is the camera I'm going to use from now on, hopefully, if I can figure it out. It's got an inbuilt microphone and everything. So this is what I'm going to use from now on. I haven't been able to play around with it because it won't work without a proper memory card. So we'll see when I get a memory card. It's ordered from, it's a domestic electronics store I ordered it from. So I should get it sometime this week. And hopefully I get my yarn sometime this week as well. If I don't, I probably have to ask. I'm not going to. I'm trying to be patient when I order yarn, because I know what a pain it is for me as a seller when people are really impatient and ask me where is my yarn when it's only been 2 weeks or something. Because if I send yarn to internationally, it can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 weeks, depending. So I'm trying not to be impatient, but I really want this yarn, so I'm really excited about it. The reason why I could afford it is it's a 50-gram skein. So I can't. I was thinking about ordering minis and making my own advent, but if I order a set of minis, I also have to pay customs. I bought a set of minis from Chromatic Yarns, and they were really expensive when they added customs. So I'm not buying any yarn from abroad. Thankfully, there are Norwegian web stores that sell, among other things, Garnbutikken Fortuna sells hedgehog fibers. So I can get some online from Norwegian web stores. My local yarn store doesn't sell hand-dyed, but she has a really good selection. So if I need commercial yarn, I go to her, because I want to support her, of course. Support your local yarn store, people, if you need anything, because it's important. The other thing I got in the mail is something big, so I'm not showing you. I can show you properly maybe next podcast if I record when I'm using it, but I bought myself an Ashford Kiwi 3 spinning wheel. I'll put up a picture here. It's not a big wheel, and it actually folds up, so it doesn't take a lot of space, and that was important for me when I bought a wheel. It had to I had to be able to just slide it in between furniture and stuff to get it out of the way. I've tried it. The only thing I've tried to teach myself to spin on a spindle, but I had to stop doing that because of my osteoarthritis in my shoulders. I wasn't able to do it properly. So that's why I ordered a wheel, because I really want to spin. And I'll show you. This is my first try. You can tell that this is what you would call art yarn. This is a full bobbin. So I just took it off the bobbin, and it's thick and thin. Some places have really a lot of twist, other places almost have no twist. So I'm playing around. I'm not sure if I am ever going to use this for anything. We'll see. I have a skein. I took the stuff I've been doing on the spindle and my spindle spinning is more even. But that's because I have been doing more spindle spinning than on the wheel. So I'm still figuring it out, but I'm having a lot of fun. And I'm thinking I'm going to use my undyed Corriedale while I'm learning how to spin, while I'm teaching myself, because I think that's easier to spin with for a newbie like me, because however you do it, when you dye fiber, it does felt a tiny bit, so it's more grippy. So I think it might be easier for me as a beginner to spin with undyed. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll just ply that undyed with dyed fibers, I guess, or I could ply undyed Corriedale and then dye it afterwards. We'll see, but I'm going to try some more spinning. I'll probably sit down with it this evening, because it's something I can do while watching TV, and that's brilliant. So I'm going to keep on with that. I decided I'm going to sit down with the wheel. I'll try to do it once a day. I'll try to do it daily until I get the hang of it. So I might be producing a lot of funky looking yarn. But I suppose that's what everybody has to do when they learn how to spin. They produce a lot of strange looking yarn. And as I said, I'm not sure what I can do with it, because this is odds and ends. Some undyed, some I've dyed pink, some I've dyed blue. I guess this is a chunky, or would you call it a bulky? And it's really, really uneven. So it's an art yarn. I was debating about if was going to show you this or not, but you've all been beginners, I suppose. Those of you that spin, you all started somewhere, and this is what mine looks like. It's a risk buying a wheel, even though a wheel is an investment, and sort of scary investment if you're not sure if you're going to. But I knew I wanted to spin, and I can't use a spindle, so if I was going to spin, I had to get a wheel. And I was pleasantly surprised about the price of the Ashford Kiwi. It's not really expensive, and I think I'm going to keep that. I know exactly where to put it as well, because I bought an Ashford loom that I hardly ever use, because I have to stash it away when I'm not using it, and that means I sort of, it's like it's a big effort just getting it out, and I didn't want that to happen with the wheel. So it's going to be standing here in the living room, so it's easy. I can just pick it up, put it in front of me, and start spinning, because you can fold up the treadles on the Kiwi, so it's only this wide. when it's not in use. So I have plenty of places here in the living room where I can stash it away as soon as I tidy up. But I have to do that anyway now, because I have to clear a space for my son's things. This weekend, me and hubby are going to Tromsø. We are just spending one night there. We're driving up on Friday, loading the car with a bunch of my son's stuff. We're having dinner with him in Tromsø, spending the night in a hotel, and then driving back here on Saturday. I think that's it. There's not a lot happening other than me trying some spinning and clearing the spare bedroom. That's about it. I might have some knitting time today. I'll see. But anyways, it's a really nice day with the weather and everything, but I think I'm going to wait for hubby and we'll go for a walk together later today. And at 9 o'clock tonight, there's a new episode of Critical Role, Campaign 3. We've been binging Campaign 3 for the last couple of weeks because we wanted to, basically. And we're going to start a new campaign when my son moves in, because he's also a D&D player, and we wanted to start a campaign for the three of us. And hubby is planning that. I haven't made a character yet, but I was going to wait for my son so we could make our characters together, because it's always a good thing to make your characters at the same time. Sometimes you call it a session 0, because you have to think about the characters sort of have to complement each other, if you know what I mean. So basically I'm waiting on creating my character until my son gets here. So that's was maybe, I'm not sure you can call that an epilogue, but anyways, I'm going to stop this now. I'm going to stop rambling. I've shown you the little bit of knitting I had to show you. Just remember, there's a clearance sale going in my shop, 25% off on everything. And I'm going to add some yarn later this week, because I'm planning on doing some dyeing tomorrow. And it looks like it might be self-striping, because I think it's 3 skeins left of the skeins I use for self-striping. So I'm going to be adding some self-striping. And I'm dyeing up some Corriedale, because that's the base I have the most of undyed. I'm going to set aside a sweater quantity or 2 of the Corriedale, because I really want a sweater in Corriedale. And I never got around to it, so I'm going to set aside a couple of sweater quantities of that for myself. But I'm going to dye up some Corriedale and some self-striping this week, and maybe some DK. I'll see what I have time for. I'm going to go through all my undyed and set aside all the yarn I want myself, and then just dye up the rest. And it might be a mix of bases I don't sell anymore, because I have a few skeins of other bases that I'm not dyeing up anymore. I think I'm going to dye up those as well and put them in the shop. And I'm going to close the shop. I kept on saying August 31st is the date I'm going to close the shop. Or when I find that there's no use in doing this anymore, because what I have left isn't selling, and then I might close the shop earlier. So I'll just say when the yarn runs out, or August 31st. That's the time frame. So clearance, 25% off on everything in the shop. So that's it for now. I'll see you again Friday in 2 weeks. Or not, it's a Monday today. So not the Friday coming, but the next Friday. Perhaps I might do a Bentley's bag of holding when I figure out how to work this camera to try it out. And but we'll see about that because I'm sort of busy these days. I'm going to stop it there. I think I've had several epilogues. I'm going to edit this and then start clearing out the spare bedroom. And I'll see you when I see you, but probably not until next Friday. So, I'll see you later. Bye bye.